I believe we're on air. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the February 3rd, 2022 Police and Public Safety Committee meeting. I'm going to begin by taking attendance. I have Council Member Brennan. I have Supervisor Puccioni, myself, Deputy Chief Mike Stevens, Lieutenant Joseph Twitty, Town Clerk Michelle Martinelli is in attendance, Town Attorney Finnan is here, Judge Scagnelli is in attendance. I see Judge Swinton is in attendance. Do we have a member of the PBA? We do not. Chief Lingenfelter from District 1 is here. Comptroller Greenwood is here. Seth. Chris O'Brien, I believe, is doing it remotely. I see I have Janet Wynn from the Comptroller's office. I have Officer Mulder here. Who am I missing? What's that? Okay. Folks, just in the crowd, can we just go around just so I can take attendance, sir?
Aaron Hull.
Aaron Hull.
Robert Gant.
Robert Gant.
Jennifer Smith.
Jennifer Smith. Kathy. Julie, say your last name one more time for me. Fantastic. Did I miss anybody? And I have Councilmember Moskowitz. Did I miss anybody else? No. Okay. Our first order of business is the minutes from the January 6, 2022 meeting. 2022 meeting. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
The motion.
Do I have a second? Deputy Chief Stevens? All those in favor? Are there any opposed? Excellent. Moving right along. Operations. The Police Reform Implementation Task Force meeting was held on January 6th of 2022, directly after our Police and Public Safety meeting, which it will be as well today. The next meeting is scheduled for today at 5:30, and I believe it is going to be all virtual due to possible inclement weather. Fleet and equipment, 601 and 602 replacement vehicles are still in the process of being outfitted to be put into service. This is ongoing. Obviously, we talked about this meeting after meeting. There's some backlog on some parts, supply issues, and also getting those vehicles up and running. The vehicle repair maintenance bid for 2022 is currently out for bid. Those bids are due by February 15th at 10 a.m., at which time Miss Michelle Martinelli, the town clerk, will be opening them with me in the public in here. Correct, Michelle? Yes. So if anyone wants to attend, they can attend that as well. Just another fleet and equipment issue. One of the things that we've been talking about is getting some traffic analysis going, and one of our traffic counters is still up for repair, but we anticipate it being back. I believe it was coming back today, actually. We got the quote today? Okay. Okay. Building, Charlie Bergami is still working on the installation of the key fob software for the administration computers. This is just something we're ongoing that we're going to get done. Training. Officer Henry successfully completed his training to become a defensive tactics instructor as of January 21st. We're pretty excited about this. This is going to give us the ability to do a more robust defensive tactics program more regularly. Sergeant Relation is scheduled to go to supervisor school at the Zone 5 Regional Law Enforcement Academy, February 21st through March 11th. This is a requirement of his new position, and we're pretty excited to have him go and get that training accomplished. An update on our recruit in the academy, recruit guest. She began her training on the 24th of January. The update I have for her is I talk to her regularly and she seems to be acclimating well, and she's in good spirits. So we're excited to get her up in training and get her back to us so we can get her on the road. Our department is currently completing training on autism for law enforcement, some emotional and psychological disorder training for law enforcement, and missing persons with Alzheimer's disease training through our Police One Academy platform. This year, we anticipate we've set up a series of 5 or 6 training blocks through that platform with various trainings that kind of match one another or fall under the same realm. And we're going to use that more regularly to accomplish training that we wouldn't otherwise be able to accomplish. So we're pretty excited about having that. Citizen issues, some of the ongoing ones that we have. First and foremost is Story Ave. We had a public hearing that was held on January 25th at the town board meeting to speak about limiting commercial vehicles to this roadway. I think quite a few folks that are here today were there during that public hearing as well. And we anticipate having a resolution to accomplish this at this upcoming town board meeting. I don't know if anybody wants to speak directly to it that's in the audience that's here for that now. Kathy or anybody else? No? You don't have to speak. I just figured if.
Oh, okay. I just, I had some other pictures I can show you after,
Okay.
just if you'd like to see them. And we are just here to support, the cause of getting Story Avenue commercial free.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you being here. Go ahead, Jess.
I can add too that Chief contacted the school district just to let them know there will be a resolution at the upcoming town board meeting limiting that commercial throughway unless the buses are picking up students on that road. So,
And Dr. Pennyman was very responsive. I had stated to her in an email that there were some residents that had voiced some concerns about the excessive amount of bus traffic on that roadway. And she was very open to having that conversation, obviously, with us. So,
Okay, so can I just ask a question, quick question?
sure.
Is it only during the school time, or is it like no commercial?
Sorry, Kathy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do I have to do anything here? I just wanted to find out, does that mean that it's going to be like for all commercial vehicles, 24 hours a day, or is
Yes.
it just during school time, or?
The only thing that is going to be allowable is kind of that local pickup mentality. So if it's something that is delivering something or picking up, so obviously school buses are going to be allowed to go up if they need to pick a student up or drop them off. Garbage delivery, things of that nature, local deliveries. But absent that, there isn't going to be a time frame on it. It's going to be in effect continuously.
Okay. So my other question would be, if by chance there is commercial vehicles that do go up the hill after we put this in place, how do you handle that?
Yeah, so one of the things that I had talked about offline doing is obviously there needs to be a transition period for folks to acclimate to that. So what we'll do is we'll probably do a special assignment as available to have a police officer there to kind of identify those things for, approximately a week or 2 weeks to kind of give advisements to folks and stop them. And then after that time frame, hopefully folks have acclimated. And at that point, it would just be surely enforcement from there.
Okay, so they'll just get ticketed. And what if something happens to somebody on the road, like from commercial vehicle? Who handles that? Is it goes through their insurance, or how does that work?
What do you mean by
know?
that? I don't understand. I
Like
don't
if
understand.
someone
Like an
gets-
accident?
Yeah, like,
Yeah, it would be the same as it always was.
okay,
The only difference being that if now there's town code that states that a commercial vehicle is not supposed to be on there,
mhm.
it's a set violation at that point if there was another violation that happened to cause the accident or something of that nature.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Can I just say something?
Absolutely.
So I didn't know if it was clear to the board that the street had met and we had discussed our options.
Mhm.
And there's about 12 families on that street, and we were all in agreement that this was the right path forward. So I just wanted to bring that to the board to make sure that they were aware, and Chief came to the meeting and helped us.
yeah, I was very impressed by the way you guys all came together. You sent very cohesive emails, very respectful, responsible. It was very appreciated that they're very thorough and well-written and helpful. So thank you very much for coming together and doing that.
Yeah, this is something that Kathy's been working on for a very long time. So we hope that it passes.
Thank you.
And again, I think we're going to, like all things when we talk about traffic safety concerns, if we have an identified area of need, I think that this particular roadway, we're going to have to continue to monitor, obviously. This was kind of that part of that stepping process for us that we had talked about.
Right.
One of the things that is not on the agenda that we had talked about also was adding another no parking sign to the middle of the roadway. And just today, I spoke with Superintendent Ray Smith about that location to be able to attempt to get that up on that north side to give more coverage so that folks know they're not supposed to park there. So. Marianne Kaufman had requested a stop yield sign at the intersection of Middle Street and East Street, which is an identified uncontrolled intersection. We did also have a public hearing on January 25th regarding this. Some of the things that came back, not during the public hearing, actually no one's showed to speak at the public hearing, but we did have some residents reach out to us directly, and that whole neighborhood is an uncontrolled neighborhood, if you will. There are multiple intersections over there that don't have stop signs, don't have yield signs. There were some concerns specific to this intersection about where the stop sign placement was potentially going to be. So we had spoken about it. I'll bring it to the committee now. We can speak about it further if you'd like. I think it's something that we may need to sort of tap the brakes on and look at more broadly. Again, I think we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially 5 intersections over there that are uncontrolled. And so I think we need to look at doing maybe some traffic studies, speaking to some neighbors over there to understand really what it is everybody collectively would like to see happen. So I don't know that we're necessarily going to move forward with that resolution until we kind of identify what the best course is for the entirety of that neighborhood. Did you want to add anything to that, John?
Yeah, it kind of made me think of the plaza where there's some stop signs some places and not other places. So it can get confusing to people. So we want to make sure that we're very planful of where the stop signs go and it's, well, very clear. Maybe there's some paint on the street directing people that the stop sign's coming up. And
Well, and specifically, if anyone's familiar with sort of where Williams, East, and Middle intersect, it's a very atypical intersection. It's got, you're bending into it. There's a lot of foliage on the one side. Middle kind of comes in between the two. It's a really broad intersection on the one side. And that was kind of brought to my attention by actually one of our town employees that's familiar with that area. And it makes sense to slow down and kind of look at it a little bit more thoroughly before we present something to the board moving forward for a resolution. So we're going to keep working on that.
I think talking to the neighbors is a great idea.
Yeah. Vanessa Wheeler from Fillmore, this is just ongoing again. She had a concern about speed over there. We're still waiting again, that's why I mentioned the traffic counter. We haven't been able to conduct a traffic study at that location due to those repairs, but once that's back up and running, we anticipate doing that traffic study to kind of address that more, to identify if the data supports what her assessment is. Some new items. I know Mr. Hall is here. I don't know if you want to, I put you on if you want to come up, sir. And
Well, I'm Aaron Hall, 2250 Dean Street. Actually, I've been here before before this committee talking about our issue. I have some neighbors here, Jen, and we've been basically advocating for the last over 10 years about some pretty significant safety issues up in northern Dean Street. We got a lot of volume of traffic. We have a lot of speed of traffic. We have a lot of truck traffic. And I believe that, and it seems to be getting more and more, it seems as society seems to be getting, it gets more and more aggressive. I think a lot of this has to do with GPS. I think a lot of people are trying to find alternative routes from around, Balltown and Route 7 that are getting clogged up. So I think what's going on here is they're almost using Dean Street as a bypass. So over the last, I would say 4 years, the town has done stuff. They've done a couple of traffic studies to support what we're seeing here on the ground. The residents have asked for stop signs. We've asked for a stop sign at McClellan and one at Webster. That was denied. They said it violated the law. We asked for speed signs that showed your speed, and that worked. They installed 2 in 2019. That seemed to work, but as soon as they moved them speed just picked back up. We asked for street diets from the county. The county has come back and said, yeah, it's in the works, but they never gave us a timeline of when that's going to happen.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part. Street what, Mr. Hall?
Street diets. Basically, a
Diets?
street diet is when they basically, if you go to the northern end of Dean Street, it's significantly wider than a lot of other streets.
Okay.
And what their street diet was explained to me is they'll actually shrink it, make the street smaller so it creates, it's a more narrow. And when you have a narrower street, it creates, you have a tendency of not going as fast.
Right.
Everybody I've talked to that goes down over Dean Street, goes over the crest of the hill by McClellan, they catch it, it's a hill, and they catch themselves going fast. I've talked to everybody. It's just because of the way it was designed back in the 50s when the neighborhood was developed. That's just the way it is. But they think that's a street diet, making it smaller, narrower is going to create make it so people wouldn't go as fast. The county installed trees last year. Again, that's going to take 30 years to. Again, they think the canopy, making a canopy will then create that narrow approach and make a driver think it's narrower and slow down. But that, again, canopy is going to take 30 years to mature. They put down crosswalks at Barclay and McClellan in 2020. And they also put a speed sign there that showed you speed. I don't think the crosswalks worked because as soon as they took the speed sign away, it was what I see is people were speeding again. They asked for a street swap. The previous administration, this is the county road, the previous administration asked for make that become a town road so they have a little more control on it. They didn't do that. That was denied. I guess they couldn't, I don't know why, but they didn't. For the trucks, they didn't put a ban on the trucks. They made a recommended truck route and put signs on Knott Street and Providence. But again, it was recommended. It was not an all-out ban. So we're still getting truck traffic on that northern end of Dean. And a lot of it's coming from the city, down McClellan. A lot of it's Grandview Cement. A lot of it's Price Chopper, tractor trailers, FedEx tractor trailers, Brown buses, tour buses coming down our streets on a regular basis. So we're getting a lot of truck traffic, especially in the summertime, because I think what's happening is Grandview is in Rotterdam, and I think they have job sites up in the Clifton Park area. So what they're doing is they're going down McClellan, and instead of going down Route 7 in Balltown, which is jammed up, they're going down McClellan, going up Dean, up Providence, and up north to their job sites. So we're seeing a lot of traffic in the summertime from cement trucks. We, of course, we have asked the police, and you guys have responded. You guys are great. But again, you can't always be there.
Sure.
It's whatever, it's whatever you can. The one thing we did recommend, and we did ask as neighbors, is speed bumps. A lot of people, they avoided the situation. They avoided the conversation, I should say. But when you look at, like, Village of Colony has speed bumps. I was in Plattsburgh recently. The city of Plattsburgh, main thoroughfares are putting in raised crosswalks. And these humps, they all have snow issues in these communities. And these humps are forcing people to slow down. Because if they don't slow down, they're going to have a big repair bill at their body shop. So it's working in these communities, and I've asked the town and county to possibly look at that, and we've been it's been pretty quiet about that. They haven't really come back with an answer. It's completely legal as far as I'm concerned, but they don't want to go down that route. At least they haven't said it. So the problem is here, we're really worried about, these kids. Everybody's they're encouraged to walk out, walk their dogs, push their strollers around. There's a lot of, pedestrian traffic on these roads. It's a residential community, but the counts are saying, the one traffic count had 1,100 cars going on a day, and we're very concerned about safety. We're very concerned that something bad is going to happen because you have those elements of a tragedy. You have a lot of vehicles, you have a lot of speed, and you have a lot of pedestrians. So, I came here today to encourage to kind of bring the issues to light again. I know there's a lot of new players in here, and I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed and hope we could take a look at this issue again and try to resolve it before we have a tragedy on our road.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming and voicing your concerns. So just to be clear, that's a lot to unpack because
Yes.
it is a county road.
Yep.
It is legal for those bigger trucks to drive on it.
Yep.
The speed issue was one thing because Council member Moskowitz had emailed me after you spoke with him. And I don't know if you're aware or not, but the sign that's currently there does take in data, that speed sign. And I had Officer Munger pull just the past week and then kind of look back just the last month to kind of get an analysis, just a brief analysis done. And it's collecting only northbound data, but just so we're aware, the average speed for last week was 27 miles an hour with that sign. And that's only northbound traffic. But the reason I bring this up is to this point, I'm certainly open to having the discussion. I'm certainly open to sitting down with you and we can talk through these things and we can look at the different options. But one of the things I've always said since I became chief was that we really got to analyze it from a data standpoint and kind of look at those things. Mr. Mastriani and I have talked, and he's not here today, but the volume on Wyoming, he's brought that up several times, a volume issue. And I think we've all, even the new folks that are here, agree that our roadways are more heavily traveled than they've ever been. And that's because the town is growing and bypassing through the town to other places is growing. That's not necessarily something we can always control, but from a speed perspective, that's definitely, if we have an identified issue, we can certainly talk about options with that. But like I said, so last week, that was the average speed northbound. I'm going to have the sign flipped and we're going to look at southbound this upcoming week. Officer Munger is going to work with the highway department to get data on that. But like I said, we can only take snapshots really to see
Right,
where
and
those.
Now, when this data is collected,
Mhm.
when is it collected?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, what I'm saying is, I when I was talking about it, I clearly said that when those signs were where they were,
Yep.
they were working. So they are working, but when they move them, they're not. You're speeding back up. So what my point is the people are coming up to those signs, seeing their speed, and they are slowing down for the most part.
Sure.
But as soon as you take those signs away and put them in a different spot, there's going to be speeding again. And you're not capturing that data. You're only capturing it where the speed sign is.
Well, so we do it two ways though. When we get these other traffic counters back, we can do an analysis without an actual speed sign there to see if what you're saying is valid, and there's some data to support that. But again, our capabilities and our resources from a collection standpoint that doesn't involve an actual speed sign that we have currently there, those traffic counter boxes, if we can get maybe 48 to 72 hours worth of data off a battery on those. But once those come back, we can absolutely deploy one to see if in fact that is the fact. We'll move the sign off and run a test and see if that works. And maybe we'll do it several times to see if that works. Because like I said, I think everything you're saying is factual. You live there. You know better than any one of us in this room that if there's a problem, there's a problem. But I want to capture that data to support that and substantiate that. So, but you and I, my office is open. You can come speak with me. We'll set up an appointment, and I'll actually bring Officer Munger. He's online right now, and I had him pulling up the data on a laptop that we have, we could sit down, we can actually look historically at the data with you and kind of talk through it as well and show you how we analyze it and what it looks like. And maybe that would help kind of broaden that conversation as well.
What about trucks?
What's that?
What about trucks?
Specific to what?
Well, there's no ban on trucks. And we're getting a lot of truck traffic, cement trucks. Why can't we ban trucks on town and, McClellan?
So I don't know. I think that's something we'd have to look for greater guidance on, because just in an offline conversation I had with Officer Munger, who's more of a commercial vehicle expert than I am with regards to these things, I think it actually is some sort of a secondary route for commercial vehicle traffic, because it is a county road. And I don't know if it's as simple as saying, let's just limit commercial vehicle traffic, because that may push that mechanism and that issue to a neighboring road.
Correct.
I think it's something we'd have to really look at in conjunction with not only the county, but maybe in the state. I don't know, to really talk those things through. Because it's not a town road, it's a little bit more complex. So,
Right. Exactly. Hopefully we can have some communication with the county.
no,
And-
and we can
Yeah.
certainly reach out to them and start talking to them again. But like I said, let's start collecting that data first and kind of identifying and substantiating what's really going on there.
okay.
Like I said, that northbound traffic for last week, and an average speed limit of 27, that's pretty good. To be honest with you, on a county road, that's exceptional.
Well, it's a county road because, it was built there, in the 50s. But bottom line is, I know it's a county road, but bottom line, this is residential. There's people walking their dogs. There's
Sure.
people. It's not Balltown Road. It's Dean Street. It's a residential street, just like Baker Avenue, just like Niskina Drive, just like Morrow Avenue. It's a residential street, and I know they keep saying it's county, and I know people think county road. It should be, but it's a residential street. And bottom line is, it's just like any other town street.
Yeah, I think I'm not negating what you're saying. I think it is a little bit different. That's why it is wider,
Yeah.
because it's got to be able to facilitate the traffic that you're
Well,
concerned about as well.
I think it's wider because down towards Lexington, the road is narrower. It's wider because they built that house and that road in that neighborhood later on.
Right.
In the 50s, when they started building wider roads. And in fact, if you go over to Nelson Drive, and which is a town street, that at one time was wider too, but the town shrunk it. Because you could see where they shrunk it. It used to be wider. I used to ride my bike over there when I was a kid. It was wider, and now it's narrower because I don't know if it's because the plows it took a lot longer because it's a wider street. I don't know why they did that, but it was wider when I was a kid. But they shrunk it down, and people don't drive as fast on that road because it is narrower. So I think that road is wider because of when it was built.
It's possible.
50s.
Yeah, I don't know from that perspective, but
Yeah.
but again, I'm just surmising because it obviously is allowing commercial vehicle traffic to go through, and then on the phone, like you stated,
Right.
all legal, but obviously a concern if you're living there.
Right.
So,
Right.
like I said, I think we continue to collect data on that, and I think you and I should definitely sit down together, and we should go through some
Bring
things. Or
Jen,
whoever
too.
else wants to come as well, and we can sit there and we can really discuss that and look at that thoroughly together. So,
Okay.
because like I said, I am all open to having those conversations, even if they've been had 20 times before.
Yeah.
Let's really look at it. And let's
And I
discuss it.
appreciate that.
Yeah, certainly.
I appreciate it.
Certainly. So thank you for coming. Do you want to say anything to that, or?
I just have one quick question.
Sure.
What was the 85th percentile?
So the 85th percentile on that was 36 miles an hour. Is that all you wanted me to say? Or?
It had been at like 38, so I was curious if that had dropped.
And again, I need to go pull those old records on those traffic studies. One of the things that I've been trying to work towards, which is why Officer Munger is obviously here on this call, is we're looking to build that proactive model of data collection, so we have a historical analysis point to analyze, not only from a speed, but from a volume. We have folks complaining about volume, and it's hard to substantiate some of these things if we don't actually have that snapshot in time from a year or 2 years, 3 years ago. Many of our roadways that we're now just speaking about, we've never done traffic studies on, and it's something we need to be better about, and we're trying to be more diligent about it moving forward. So,
How do we get sidewalks in this town? I think the sidewalk would help King Street a lot. I want that.
I hate to say that's a different committee, but I will give you Miss Laura Robertson's number, and that's a completely different committee that I will absolutely direct you to at any time you want to speak to. Yes. Yes. So it's a completely different, the Safe Streets Committee, they meet as well. And they make recommendations as far as pedestrian traffic and bicycle traffic, and that equality to everyone, regardless of how you're traveling, if you will.
It might narrow the road.
Yeah.
you know?
So, yeah. Laura Robertson would be the contact point for that, and she's excellent at looking into those things. So, yes, yes. But I will get you in touch with her.
Main Street is one of the streets that has the signs on it for the bike path.
For the bike path?
For the bike path.
I don't
No.
believe so, no. No.
State Street was looking at those streets.
You
Oh,
have
those
a
are-
bike race that comes down Main Street in July every year. It's across the state. The bike course comes down Main Street in July.
Anybody else have any other comments or questions about that at all? No? Okay. Moving on to the town clerk. The APF contract was passed through resolution at the January town board meeting, which is excellent. Michelle, did you have anything else you wanted to speak to?
So I just wanted everybody to know that we sent out 327 delinquent dog litters. So that's a lot of residents that are not renewing their dog licenses. And I have to say that this is not something new. Registering your dogs all started in New York on March 8th, 1894. Okay, so it's not something new. Because everybody's like, oh, I didn't know about that. And it's a state law. It's not, but we facilitate the licenses. And I have to say, too, that there are a lot of familiar names on that list. So I really, really would like everybody to, when you get that, take it seriously, because for one, it helps get your dog back if they run away. It protects your dog against dogs that might not be licensed or might not have their rabies up to date. So I really would like everybody to be mindful of that. And there was so Michelle's brother worked for the city at one point in the water and sewer department, and she found a tag for the city of Schenectady that dated back to 1916, which was very cool. It's one of my fun facts. So I just want you to know that we are very diligent on making sure that the residents do renew their dog licenses. And just because you did the census, when we did the dog census back, a couple years ago, it's not just a one-time thing. It is something that you have to do yearly.
Did that also go out through the town email, Michelle, the dog license renewal? Did we send that out?
No,
We may want to do that too. We may
we
want
could do a reminder.
oh,
on
an
the-
actual letter?
Well, so it didn't go on the website. It goes to each individual, the dog delinquent letter. But we could do a reminder on the
I
website.
think that might be a good idea, because I think a
Sure.
lot of folks get those emails,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that
we
might
can do
trigger
that.
something to remind them.
Sure.
And this can all be done online?
So we're working on that. I proposed that for the end of last year. It didn't get put in my budget. So I'm hoping to talk to Seth to see what he has available and combining.
Careful, he's
maybe-
going to come out that door
I
and start
know.
talking.
Combining our budgets and see what I have. I could pick through
Okay.
some of my lines. But hopefully soon we will be able to do dog renewals, license renewals online.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. The court issues. Judge Cagney, did you have anything for us?
Nothing that is jumping out on the page, and I'll defer to Judge Swinton on that, except that the summary proceeding moratorium is now expired. We anticipate a spate, an increase in evictions. We don't have a firm date yet as to when they're going to go to the centralized arraignment part, meaning if there's an off-hours arrest where Judge Swinton or I would have to, if we were on duty, would have to go to the jail to arraign them off hours. It's not clear as to when that's going to start. Anything else, Judge Swinton?
No, and in case you didn't know, I think the wave of evictions has already started, and it got you first. I think you got about 20 some came in the other day for your date next Thursday. Today is our new full-time clerk, Lisa Serrata. She's 1 month in. She's doing very well. She actually covered my court night last night. So that's moving along even better than hoped. That's all.
Excellent. Chief Lingenfelter, I see you on there. Did you have anything from the fire department?
No, just the latest news. All of the departments in the town are now up on the new radio system and are operating on that. So we now all have that interoperability capability with PD. And so far, coverage of the system is working very well. A few procedural issues to work out, but other than that, we're very happy with it.
All right.
And that's all I have.
It's working incredibly well. We hear it. Perfect timing. On to the school district. I spoke with Principal Rickert. The last meeting we had talked in the meeting regarding potential parking spaces during the capital project. So I reached out to him directly. He said that they would need approximately 10 parking spaces that they would like to be utilized at Town Hall to facilitate teacher parking. And we spoke, myself, Councilmember Brennan, Town Supervisor, some other folks, and we don't forecast that being any issues. We're just going to designate an area kind of closest to school that's not going to be impactful to the rest of the town employees or anyone visiting during those times. And we'll probably put out an email when that starts and when it's going to conclude as we get closer, because it's not going to start, I believe, until April. So, personnel. We are currently processing potential recruit candidates from this recent test. As we all know, we spoke about recruit guests being in the academy. There is a secondary academy class in March, which is unusual. It was due in part to the fact that this last test was not certified in certain counties that are part of Zone 5, so they kind of had to stagger a second academy. And we're fortunate enough to have potentially an opening slot in that second academy class should we find a candidate that we wish to hire. So we're working through that. We're hoping that we do find one that is going to meet the needs of our police department, our community. And should we do so, we would move forward with a resolution potentially in March regarding that. Some other ongoing things. I've had this on there, the closest car state police MOA. And I'm not going to explain it again because I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty details again. But I spoke with Town Attorney Finnan prior to the meeting regarding this. Apparently it doesn't need to be an MOA because the MOA was already signed, and it's more just an update and an addendum to the current agreement that we would just understand moving forward how this would proceed, correct?
Correct.
Fantastic. So we can check that off the list. The Take Me Home project, this is ongoing. We were looking at the current functionality we had put out in the last meeting to remind folks of this service. Some of the software is outdated and it doesn't necessarily work to the capabilities that we'd wish to have real time in the police vehicles. So it's something we're going to look at, possibly developing our own tracking mechanism internally for folks that are at need or at risk that wish to register their loved ones or themselves through this system. In conjunction with that, we talked about an evacuation/welfare check, a functional needs persons 911 registry. This was something different that we had spoken about, having the ability to have folks register if they have a family member, a loved one, or themselves, whereby they had certain needs in the event of an emergency. We would have sort of this list that we could then go through and check on folks in our community, make sure that they have the appropriate services if their power goes out, their phones go out, things of that nature. One of the things we did discover through my conversations with Chief Lingenfelter was that the county does have pieces of this concept already up and running, and obviously we don't want to reinvent the wheel if we don't have to, but we're going to look at this moving forward to see if we can't piggyback off of what the county already has and see if we can find a good kind of meet in the middle point with something like this for our town. Community surveys, part of police reform, and also I think one of the broader conversations that we've had townwide is really identifying what it is our community members want from us and what kind of services they need from us. And this is something that I spoke with the town supervisor. I've also spoke with the comptroller regarding how we can best address these things. I think it's just going to be something that's on the ongoing list because it's going to take some in-depth thinking and some research and possibly finances to do these things, because it's not something that you just want to put together ad hoc and send out. We want it to be mindful, we want it to be meaningful and impactful, so we're getting good results and analyzing those to make sure we're putting out the best service that we can for our community members. One of the other things that needs to go on, is it a resolution, Stop DWI grant? Yes. For resolution is the 2022 Stop DWI grant allocation. We need to accept $9,750 for personal services and $3,000 for high visibility enforcement through the county. This is an annual grant that we are part of and fortunate to be a part of. The county does a great job writing this grant and allocating these funds to us. So that will be on for resolution for this town board meeting as well. The body-worn camera grant, we are going to need a resolution needed to accept the matching grant funds for the purchase and implementation of body-worn cameras. I believe the number off the top of my head was $33,420. Sounds about right? Yes. And it is a matching grant whereby we can purchase body-worn cameras up to $2,000 a camera and use this grant over the course of a 3-year period to hopefully implement and update our current technology for both dash cams and body-worn camera systems so that we can have more transparency with our community members. So we're going to need that resolution for this meeting as well, just to be able to accept those matching funds. And that's all I have for business. Does anybody else have anything else to add to that? No? Okay. I guess we're going to close our business. I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Is there a second to that? All those in favor? Are there
Aye.
any opposed? And so we're going to adjourn this meeting at 4:15. Our next meeting is going to be for March 3rd, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. Thank you everybody so much for coming. We'll see you then.